In 1952, Red Wing introduced the very first mock toe boot. Not to be confused with the moccasin, but they used the moccasin as inspiration to make this boot. It was specifically designed for hunters and farmers with this iconic crescent-shaped toe stitching and a white wedge sole for support and quietness. My name's Oliver the Shoe Man. My wife and I own and run our family's 5th generation shoe repair business right outside Nashville, Tennessee. And in this video, I'm going to do a full review of these Red Wing 1907 boots and go over 5 things that you need to consider before buying yourself a pair of mock toe boots. First of all, we're going to figure out how to find the right size boots for you. Then we're going to go over these leather uppers. We're going to go over the lining. We're going to go over how the boots are even made. And then lastly, we're going to look at the final fit and finish, the cleanliness of the boots, stitching, sole finish, all that good stuff. And starting today, I'm going to be wearing these boots every single day for 3 months. And after that 3 months, I'm going to do a part 2 review series where I will go over the break-in. We'll take a look at how the leather uppers held up, how the soles held up, and then we'll do a full breakdown, taking these boots completely apart, to take a look on the inside, see what components they're using, how the inside's held up as well. Basically gonna take a look at the parts that you don't see unless you take the boots apart. And then we'll resole them with a custom recraft that we offer. So first, let's go over how to find the right size boot for yourself. And this is gonna be quite anticlimactic, but the best way to find your size in a boot is to just go try one. In yesterday's video, we went to a local Red Wing store in Nashville and we filmed a full sizing guide video on how to size for Red Wing boots. And what was crazy is I wore an 8.5D in an Iron Ranger, but these ones I had to size up. I went to an 8.5 double E. And so what most people don't understand is even though you wear a size 9 in a sneaker, that doesn't mean you're a size 9 in a boot. And just because you're a size 9 in an Iron Ranger doesn't mean you're a size 9 in a mock toe. Now, I'm not going to go too far into sizing. I'll link that video down below so you can go watch that after this video. It has more information on how to actually size your boots. And you can always give the Nashville Red Wing store a call. They'll be happy to help you find the right size. They're actually giving you, my followers, 20 bucks off and free shipping if you call and buy and order a pair of shoes for them. So I'll put that number down there too. If you have any questions, reach out to them. They'll be the ones to help you out. Just let them know Oliver the Shoe Man sent you, and they'll help you out from there. Now, Red Wing makes a few mock toe boots. Everybody knows their 877s and their 875s. That's pretty much their classic mock toe boots, made from their Oro Legacy leather. Now, on their website, they say that their Oro Legacy leather uses a unique proprietary blend of oils exclusive to Red Wing, allowing the full grain texture to remain on display without any added pigment. Now, these 1907s are made from their copper rough and tough leather, which is a premium oil-tanned nubuck leather tanned by SB Foot Tanning Company, located in Red Wing, Minnesota. It's a full grain leather that they lightly sand to a matte finish, and then they saturate it with a whole bunch of oil, and that's what gives you this really cool pull-up leather. So when you pull up on the leather and you crease it, what it's actually doing is the oils that are inside the boot are moving around, and that's what creates this light spot, which is really cool. And all you gotta do to bring it back to its dark finish is just rub it with your hands. But these boots are popular for forming a unique patina very quickly, exposing those copper undertones of the leather. Now, one thing I don't like about these boots is that they don't have any speed hooks. It's literally eyelets all the way up the boot. Now, me personally, I prefer speed hooks. Some people don't like the speed hooks. I just find it so easy to slip your boots on and off. And when you lace them up, sometimes you just have to like literally unlace them to get your foot in. Then you have to sit there trying to lace your boots in. With the speed hooks, you just pull it up. That is just one thing I don't like about them. I wish they had speed hooks, but we could add speed hooks to these guys, no problem. So the shaft of the boot is unlined, so you can see the back of that copper rough and tough, the suede section of the leather, which is really cool. They have a leather heel counter, or heel lining, which is really nice. Some manufacturers would just use like a fabric. As you walk, your heel slips up and down a little bit, and it just tears up that back heel section. These also have a leather lining in the front. Hard to tell. There you go. You can see right there. That's a leather lining. Starts from here and it goes on the front. So the front's leather lined. This heel section is leather lined, which is really nice. And then the footbeds are actually Ta-da! Leather footbeds, which are really cool. Now, these are the components that most companies kind of cheap out on because you don't really notice them, you don't see them. But as you start to wear them, they will break down and they will start to fall apart. And so although the outside is really nice, the inside is falling apart and it's trash. A footbed is pretty much the backbone of the entire boot. So the welt, the uppers, everything gets stitched to that footbed. And what most manufacturers use is a paper or a fiberboard. They'll stick an insole on top of it, and what you won't see is that the paper over time will start to fall apart. You'll risk the boots becoming misshapen or missized. They'll stretch too far out of shape because everything is just falling apart. That footbed isn't holding anything together. So this being leather is going to be really nice. You don't have to worry about it falling apart. One thing I will say, when you condition your boots, condition the outside, condition the inside. I don't know how many times I have boots come in that need new soles and their footbeds are dried out and cracking. We have to replace it if that's the case. Because that's the backbone of the shoe. So if that's dried and cracked, there's no point in resoling it if the foundation's bad. So when you condition the outside, stick your hand in there, condition the inside. The salt in our sweat when we walk around in our shoes will dry the crap out of that leather. So make sure condition inside and outside of your boots. I just want to say too, this is really cool. Imagine they made a rough out copper rough and tough boots. That would be nice. Which brings me to my next point. These boots are 360 Goodyear welted. And what that means is that you have a welt here, this leather piece with the 2 rows of stitching that gets stitched through the uppers to the footbed. In our second part review series, you'll see exactly how that's done. But that gets stitched all the way around the boot, 360. There are some boots out there that are 270, so it'll start from here and go all the way around to the front and stop right here. And you'll have a heel rand back here. And what they do that because they just want a thinner heel. These are 360, and I honestly prefer a 360 welt just because I have a wider heel base to step on. So that's really cool. Now, this white row, this top row stitching is purely aesthetic. This is called a split welt. So they take a piece of leather, they split it, and this vertical piece hugs the uppers. You can see I can just kind of pull it back. You can see almost a little bit of that stitch right there. But again, it's just purely aesthetic. It's designed to mimic a Norwegian welt, which is another construction of how people make boots, but I'll go over that in a different video. But this stitch right here is actually holding a midsole. This brown layer is a brown rubber midsole. So the welt gets stitched to the shoe, and then the midsole will get stitched to the welt, and then they glue the wedge sole on. I really love the look of that brown midsole with the white wedge sole and that leather welt. It's just a classic 1907. When you see this boot, you know it's a 1907. You know it's a Red Wing boot because of that white wedge, because of the brown midsole. The other models they have, the 877s and the 875s, they don't have a brown midsole. They just have a cream midsole, along with the flat welt instead of the split welt. So this is just an iconic boot. Now this is going to be the first boots, believe it or not, that I wear with a wedge sole for an extended amount of time. Typically, I would rather something with a heel, but these wedge soles are known for being super supportive and comfortable. The only downfall is that they wear out pretty quickly because it is like a crepe style sole. So I'm kind of curious to see how these are going to hold up and how comfortable they are compared to my other boots, which have heels on them. Now what we could do is we could sand this tread off and put a thin rubber sole on top of it so that you get the support and the comfort of a wedge sole, but you also get traction and the durability of a rubber sole. And plus, it'll be easier to resole in the future because I don't have to touch the wedge sole. I just peel off that rubber sole and glue a new one on. Now, if I wasn't testing these out, I would have already done that with these boots, but I want to wear them as is, straight from the factory, just to get the most accurate results from the testing. Now, after looking over the boots, I noticed a few aesthetic flaws, not really structural flaws, but what you have to understand is I work with boots every single day. I know what to look for, what flaws to look for, and again, it's not structural, it's just aesthetic. But if I were to nitpick as a shoe collar, these are the things that I would nitpick about. First of all, this left boot has a slight dip in the toes. The mock toe stitching is perfectly even on the right one, but the left one has kind of a dip to the outside. Now this could be a structural issue if the fit didn't fit. This happens when they don't last it properly. If the leather doesn't sit on top of the last properly and they shape it, it'll have kind of a little dip. And if it's super dramatic, it'll actually affect how they fit. So if you buy a pair of these, make sure you try them on and make sure that they fit. But other than it, not looking good from the front, from the top view, you can't even really tell. And it doesn't really bother me, honestly. Because again, it's just a visual issue. It's not a structural issue, as long as they still fit. But if that's an issue for you, you just ask for another pair. Back in 1908, Red Wing said that they made 450 pairs a day. So you can only imagine how many they're producing today. And when you're dealing with a larger manufacturer like this, and they're making that many boots a day, mistakes are bound to happen. They're not perfect. And it doesn't make them a bad company. It doesn't make their boots crap. It just means stuff happens. As long as they stand behind their boots, they should just replace them, because they understand things happen when you make thousands of boots a day. So if you get a pair and you notice some aesthetic flaws or any kind of flaw, really, just send it back. They'll send you a new one. It's not really any big problem. Other than that, the stitching along the entire boot is really nice. There's really any weird curves. It's all the straight stitching straight. The curves are nice and curved, follows the curves. Overall, I'm very pleased with the stitching on the uppers of the boots. The last thing I wish would have been better is the finish on the edge of the sole. It's almost like they took a 24 grit sandpaper and they sanded it and they left it as is. And I just wish it was a little bit smoother, make it a little bit nicer. The sanding on the heel almost looked like it has a concave finish to it. And it's all right. Again, I wish it was a little bit better. But as long as it's not like drastically sanded in, it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna cause any issues when you're walking. And that's what I've noticed from a lot of their newer heritage boots. The sole finishing it's like they just 24 grit sandpaper and that's it. Again, I wish it was just a little bit cleaner, but what are you gonna do? I really don't care. What I like to say is if you don't buy a boot because of the sole, it's like not buying a car because of the tires on it. You can easily just change the tires on your car just as easily as you can change the sole on your boot. Now, a lot of people send me their boots brand new just to get the soles they want, or you can just wear them out, send them in, and we'll get new soles on there put on. I personally like to make a nice, clean, smooth edge finish, nothing with this rough 24 grit sandpaper. And that's my thoughts as a professional shoe cobbler on the Red Wing 1907. And remember, this is just part 1 of our review series. Starting today, I'm gonna wear these every single day for 3 months, and then we'll do a full review and recraft, taking them completely apart to see what's on the inside, the parts that most people don't see unless you take the boots apart, and then we'll throw some cool custom soles on there after. That being said, if you are interested in getting yourself a pair of 1907s, please go give Rebecca at Red Wing Nashville a call. Her phone number will be in the description. Either her or her team will help you out, find the right size, find the right model that you need. And again, you get 20 bucks off plus free shipping when you call and order from them. Now, if you have a pair of boots that you want that secondary sole I was telling you about, all my contact information will also be down below. You're welcome to mail your boots in to get this done. I'll be happy to help. Thank you so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. And I will see you guys next time. God bless you.